Hey, it's Krystal. Welcome to Small Talks, where we have small talks about a big God. Do you remember chicken pox as a kid? I'll never forget the smell of calamine lotion, the cream that was used to manage the itching. It smelled like mothballs in my grandmother's attic. I remember not being able to go to school because I was highly contagious. I hated having to be isolated from my friends, not being able to go anywhere. It definitely was not fun at all. In the Bible days, similar precautions were taken when someone had a disease called leprosy. This disease was contagious and incurable. There is a story in the Bible about 10 guys who had leprosy. It was common practice for lepers to be isolated so that they wouldn't pass on their disease to the rest of the community. These guys were considered outcast in their society. If someone was suspected to have leprosy, they would be taken to the priest to be examined. And that's when the priest would pronounce them unclean and isolate them. These were the rules of their society concerning leprosy. You can find all of this in Leviticus chapter 13 and 14. Now that you know some of the rules about leprosy, let me tell you more about these 10 lepers. You can find their story in Luke chapter 17, verses 12 through 14. Now Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem, and verse 12 says, "As he entered a village, 10 men with leprosy who stood at a distance met him. And they raised their voices saying, 'Jesus, Master, have mercy on us.' When he saw them, he said to them, 'Go and show yourselves to the priest.' And as they were going, they were cleansed." The first verse we read said the 10 lepers stood at a distance and raised their voices to Jesus. Remember, the reason why they stood at a distance is because the rules of their society did not allow them to come in contact with people, not even the true and living God. I don't know about you, but sometimes my issues, my ailments, and afflictions can make me feel like God is at a distance. And it seems like God is not near. Notice, it was their personal choice to stand at a distance. Jesus did not require that of them. What you see happening here is those lepers, they began to project their societal rules and restraints on God. I'm not sure what you've been told, but there's no problem, no sickness or issue that can separate you from God. In the midst of our problems, He actually wants us to draw near. Now, no matter how far you feel from God, He still hears your voice. He's never too far to hear your cry. Psalms 34 promises that when the righteous cry, He hears and delivers them out of all of their trouble. Jesus heard the leper's voice even when they were far off, and He will hear your voice even when you feel far away from Him. So cry out to the true and living God today. The next verse says that when Jesus saw them, He said, "Go, show yourselves to the priest." Now, what I did not mention earlier when I discussed the laws of leprosy was that if a leper believed he was healed or cured from the disease, he would then go back to the priest for another examination. There, if all checked out okay, the priest would pronounce him clean and he would be publicly restored back into the community. Keeping that law in mind, do you see the issue with Jesus telling them to go to the priest? They were not healed yet. It did not make sense, and the lepers could have responded differently. They could have thought logically and said, "Jesus, I think you should heal us first." I think that's how it goes. You heal us first, and then we go to the priest. We're going to look like fools if we go to the priest with all of these spots on us. They could have waited until they saw physical evidence of the healing Jesus spoke of. But instead of questioning Jesus or having a response filled with doubt, fear, or logic, they walked by faith and not by what they could see. They obeyed the words of their master, and the scripture says, as they were going, they were healed. It was in their going, or when they started moving in faith, when they received the deliverance they've been searching for. It was almost as if their faith and obedience activated their healing. Oh, what a different story it would have been if those 10 lepers wouldn't have put their faith in motion. I just want you to know today, your healing, your breakthrough may be wrapped up in your obedience. See, sometimes God will ask you to do something, and it really doesn't make sense. Like maybe he's asking you to give out of your lack. Your financial breakthrough may be on the other side of your obedience. Maybe he's asking you to forgive someone who has yet to admit they're wrong. Your relational healing may be on the other side. As you go about your day to day, I want you to remember that there's no problem or issue that can separate you from God. He wants us to draw near and cry out to Him. What is one thing or one barrier to you drawing close to God today? And we have to ask ourselves this question. Is our faith moving? Understand that faith is dead if it's not moving. Faith is dead if there's no works to show for it. What is one step of faith you can take today?